First thing to go in was the bulkhead. And of course, this took a fair bit of persuading to get the holes lined up. As usual, we start the day with the team meeting. All members are required to attend. That does include Leo.
Alright, we've gotten to the point where we can now do the sound deadening of the front cab. We're going with car builders again. This is who we used for the back of Nigel as well as the cab when we did our original build, so it was a no-brainer to go back with them again because we loved how well everything worked in regards to both sound deadening, and then with the acoustic foam liner on top, it really helped with heat transfer as well. So let's get stuck into this and see how we go.
Mandatory play breaks are necessary for keeping everyone happy on site. Then it was time to fit the dash that I fabricated a couple of months ago. Thankfully it all went somewhat smoothly and most of the holes lined up. With the windscreen in, it was time to start fitting the new roof lining from car builders. Be able to move either way.
It's probably a way better way to. What do you think of this stuff, Glenny?
It's legit.
Yeah.
I actually can't believe it. It's with everything like this, it's really hard to get started because like it's a large bit of material and there's sticky like adhesive and trying to make sure you're not going to get like weird folds or kinks or anything. But once we lined up at the back, it was our square edge. After that, it's been like, it's so good to work with. It has like so much stretch about it in all directions. It's nuts. So like even once it's down, you're not gonna have like folds. You just keep like shoving it. And it's like really sticky, but it's not unforgiving. Like if you do get stuck, you can just peel it off, readjust and put it back in. I'm blown away. This is actually so sick. And it's doing like the two jobs of ceiling lining. It's putting foam and adding just like a base color. I mean, obviously it's not like a vinyl finish or a leather finish, but
for the cab though,
Land Rover, it looks great.
Yeah, for a cab, it doesn't, like the front cab, it doesn't matter. It's just
and we really just like, we're not fans of carpet, which I know like is really good for a lot of four-wheel drive setups, but just the look of it, we just don't really love. So it's cool knowing there's a different option without it being having to pay for like a full upholsterer or do what we did, which was try and do it ourselves, which was crazy difficult. We didn't know what we were doing though. So this is going to be such an improvement.
Yeah, I wish we had this from the get-go.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would have made our lives so much easier.
Yeah. From memory though, I think I was looking at car builders stuff but I think they only had this with branding on it at the time, which was ideally what I wanted, but it couldn't be a finished product because there was branding still on it. So it's cool that now they've come out with one that, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing one that was unbranded. So it's nice that they've got it now. The windscreen is in. It's actually looking like a car now, which is so cool. I can't believe it. Fair bit of work. I definitely wouldn't recommend having the roof still on while putting it in. It's just really hard to like force it so that we're still putting pressure on those top and bottom seals and getting the holes lined up. Normally you would have the roof off, but obviously we don't have much choice because we can't get the tent off, so we just had to make it work. But thankfully, super tight seal. I've used extra sealant because we're not going to be putting the top on and off. It's just going to stay there, so I don't want any water getting in at all, which these are known for, and Nigel for sure leaked around the top for the whole time we've had him. So one thing I did do before this was manipulate the bulkhead so that the door gaps are going to be right. So the magic number is 34 3/4 inches. I can't remember, I think it was Britannica Restorations recommended doing this, where you basically just get something that's 34 3/4 inches, you cut to length, and then you've basically got to try and make sure the gaps at the bottom between here and here and here and here are the same so that it's square. So on this side I had to add a couple of spaces. I had to add 3 spaces on this side, 2 spaces on that side. I had to check that the back part was square to begin with, or the tub, so thankfully that was. And then from here it had a little lean back, so I also had to add 1 spacer in here, no spacers over there. But now with the windscreen in, everything tightened up and torqued up. The gap is perfect for the whole door, perfectly square both sides, which was a massive win. I don't know whether I would have known to have done that without obviously endless YouTube videos, but it was super handy knowing that I could do that. Otherwise I think I would have just sort of cranked everything up the way it was supposed to, not realizing how much manipulation you can actually have in the bulkhead itself. So I'm really glad I found that out now before mounting the doors, because that would have been such a headache trying to do it once everything's nipped up the way it is. So super relieved that that's perfect, which should make my life a whole lot easier when it comes to doing the doors. What you've seen the last few shots and the last few jobs we've done has actually been shot over like, I don't know, like a week. It seems like really simple, and of course the next thing is this and the next thing is that, but it's been like, once you do one thing, there's so many tiny little things that there's no point in filming because it's just pointless or boring, or it's just tightening up a million other bolts. It's crazy, and how many trips I've had to do to the store to grab like a rubber washer or a specific nut or a specific bolt or whatever it may be. So it's incredible to think that I've been working full time on this. You've seen like a couple minutes out of each day and it looks like it's been really smooth. It has been smooth. There's just so many steps in between each major step that it's just piling on, but it's really cool to see it's starting to look like even more of a car again. damaged clutch line and pretty old brake lines, I figured I'd have a crack at making my own new copper ones. With one kit, it's surprisingly simple to do, just a little time consuming, which I've learned is the case for almost every task in this restoration. What you're witnessing here are just the many faces of a mechanic working underneath a car in suboptimal conditions. Safe to say that I'm well and truly sick of doing anything underneath Nigel. Between getting filthy, rolling around on the ground, getting dirt and rust in my eyes, forgetting tools and having to crawl back out just to crawl back under again, removing tools lodged in my back, and getting a sore neck from all the awkward angles. I am not going to miss working under this car. So I just filled up the radiator with demineralized water, sort of getting ready to actually think about starting this thing. And I noticed I flushed the coolant sort of reservoirs yesterday and looked for any water dribbling out anywhere, and there wasn't any, which was a really good sign. This morning I filled it up and there's drops coming from the top of the thermostat housing and then one nut on the front of the timing cover. I went to just nip up there was like could have done a little bit more tightening on the thermostat housing one to try and just sort of stop the little drip coming out the back of the gasket. And of course I snapped the bolt. And then in trying to nip up the one on the front of the timing case cover, the threads it's just not biting in properly on this one, and it's coming straight out of that bolt hole. So now I have a snapped tip in the head and I don't know what I'm going to do about the timing cover. This is probably the worst day I've had. So I was quite excited for today, but now I got to figure something out. First step was trying to clean up the thread on the timing cover bolt. This didn't work. So next step was to go up a size, drill it out, re-tap, and fit a thicker bolt. And thankfully it worked perfectly. Now onto the snap bolt. In an effort to try and remove what was left, I was hoping to use a bolt extractor. This too snapped, which led to a much longer time than I'd like to admit trying to drill it out. In the end, I had to get an even larger drill bit, bore it out, re-tap it, and insert a new helicoil thread. No leaks. So far. Now I'm pretty overboard with the sealant. Better safe than sorry, I suppose. I'm gonna leave that for now because I feel like I'm gonna get dumped on any second. I just really needed to know that it's not leaking and we can in fact go ahead with actually trying to start this thing soon. Well, it's not all good news. It's actually worse. There is a crack there where water is coming out in the head on both sides. Oh my God.